Hi, and welcome to Assessment and Data in the English Language Arts and Reading Classroom. I know you've hit that little button to listen to me, so we're going to move forward. We have a lot to go over, and I really look forward to touching base with you on November 12th when we have office hours with our live Zoom link. But right now, I want to go ahead and jump into all things data and assessment. We have MAP, we have ISL Diagnostic, we have CFAs, we have PAs, we have QSAs, and they're all over the place. And I really want us to start thinking about not just using data right in the moment at that second to identify and drill down with like groups, like boot camp style. I want us to think about how we actually use that on a constant and ongoing basis to really leverage growth in our language arts classrooms and really grow readers and writers. So we're going to go through and look at that. So we have two outcomes, really understand the purpose of each of these assessments and any programs attached, and then also understand the relationship between student learning and the teachers collecting of and reflecting on that assessment data in the class, as well as the ones that are done more outside, such as like a MAP test and then a QSA every quarter. So at this point, I'm going to ask you to pause the video and click this self-assessment icon or image here. And go ahead and take the Google form self-assessment. So I'm going to let you do that. Okay, make sure that you go ahead and finish that so you can pause my voice if you're not quite done, and then we will move on when you click play again. Okay, so we're going to look at and think about what's the purpose of each of the following assessments. We've listed them off. I just want you to, you just did a Google form that made you think about them a little bit, but if you have a piece of paper, even like jot down, like what is it really assessing and how are these different? Just kind of do that. Pause, think, and then we'll go on and learn. So this is a bridge map, one of the thinking maps, and this shows the relationship of the type of test with the purpose of what it's used for. So I'm going to read this off the map like sentences. So if you notice, like the first one, it's map growth is designed to measure reading or math growth in the beginning of the year to the middle of the year to the end of the year. And it actually sets that trajectory for growth. Like this is where they're going to perform. It actually shows you on STAR and at the current rate, and you would have to do some things to intervene. Then we have quarterly summative assessments, or QSAs, are designed to measure mastery of essential standards from the previous quarter or 9 weeks or thereabouts, so 9 weeks. So that is looking at our actual TRS units in our curriculum and the identified essential standards, and that's the focus of that assessment. And it's a summative, how are they doing, dipstick, and a really, really purposeful pausing on the teacher's part about why they might not be getting that and making adjustments. Then we have common formative assessments are designed to measure identified mastery or progressive learning of essential standards as well, and maybe other prerequisites or spiraled ones within a current unit that informs the instruction. Like it's just ongoing. It can be quick checks and it can be ticket out. And it often in our classroom is in the readers and writers notebook where they're really living and breathing and growing as readers and writers. IXL Diagnostic, which has an initial and an ongoing one, is designed to measure current performance on grade level TEKS. So it actually sees if they're performing on grade level and then gives you a read and lets you know what level they're on as far as what grade. And then they also assign a diagnostic report. And then a demonstration of learning is designed to measure a learning tied to the mini lesson through that daily learning objective in the mini lesson, which is tied to an essential standard and typically sometimes a bundle of essential standards, of TEKS, because language arts is rarely just one at a time. It's usually one major one. So if you see how this works, there are different purposes and at different points in time in the year. So map growth is just 3 times a year. And it's not meant to be done between because it's saying, where are you? Did you grow? Did you grow? Quarterly summative assessments dipstick on the mastery of the TEKS in the unit. And it's letting you know, did they or did they not? Common formative assessments ongoing in the class. And iExcel is a partner to all this because you can have that diagnostic that is in filling in and giving you information on if they're reading or performing on grade level on the grade level standards. And that's a huge benefit to us now, especially with co-seating and virtual learning. And then the demonstration of learning is daily. It is tied to what they are doing that day in that mini lesson, and the students are expected to transfer and apply in their independent reading or their independent writing that day. So we also have performance assessments I didn't mention on here, but that obviously is another way to assess the TEKS in the unit, but they're bundled together in a performance of writing or reading or research or a combination thereof, and are also measuring the TEKS of the unit plus as essential standards. So if we know the purpose of each of these, if they're not really redundant, they benefit you and let you get more information from different venues. So I want to pause a second and mention a little bit more about iExcel because I want to make sure there's a clear understanding of it. It is not iStation. It is different. It is really beneficial because of what I mentioned a minute ago about the diagnostic and the grade level TEKS. And once they take the diagnostic, then there's a customized learning path given based on the needs that they're showing based on that assessment. The great thing about the diagnostic is it really is anything you're doing except for providing 15 minutes for 3 days in a row, typically, or so that they can finish it. And then it pinpoints them to a certain score. Then there's an ongoing diagnostic, and this is the thing that maintains. And it usually is done weekly, but it could be every other week, and it's only 10 to 15 minutes. This is just basically keeping the diagnostic dynamic, because even though there's skills being practiced in iExcel, you want the diagnostic to re-measure to see where kids are. So again, that's something you would do every 1 or 2 weeks, just 10 to 15 minutes. And then there's obviously independent skills practice in iExcel. You can do it just based on TEKS alone, based on the recommended path that the initial diagnostic has given you and the ongoing one, or you can actually customize it to your unit essential standards and other things. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Here's the diagnostic. I did some screenshots and cut off some students' names. And this is what it would look like for a teacher. All the names would be over here on this side. And what I wanted you to see here is these students have not completed their diagnostic. And you can tell because, first of all, on the English language arts, it says keep diagnosing because no one has on that part of the test. This is the reading one, the second bar. And this is how it reads. This student up here is at a 780, which means 7th grade, 8th month in to 9th grade, 9th month in. So somewhere in there is where this student's going to fall. This is 7th grade, 9th month in to 9th grade, 6th month in. These are high school students, but these are 11th or 12th graders. So they were a little behind. So this is good information. They need to continue because as they continue, it narrows. So I'm going to jump down here and show you. This is, notice this reading level for this student. It's almost there. It's probably going to land right about 960 because the student has one more day, I think, of diagnosing, and then it will make a little round ball, and that's exactly what a student is at that point in time. So then moving on, what's great about this is when you click on this report icon, it's a customized plan, this is what it will look like. So based on that last student I just showed you, it's showing you this is the level they're reading on, the level they call it actually in iExcel, but this is going with the 9th grade, 2nd month in. Some recommended skills based on diagnostic are these two things: identifying the meaning of a word in context, and then the theme. And then you have vocab, and you can see about using words accurately or the connotation and denotation. Those are based, again, this student was stronger on vocab, weaker on the actually reading strategies, but that's why this is customized. Then you have the writing ones. These are writing strategies. Weaker in writing. Notice 3rd grade, 3rd month, 5th grade, 3rd month. I don't know the student, but this makes me wonder 2 things. This is what data should do, make you question. Is it a second language learner and they're weaker on the output of expressive language? That's what I would ask first. The other thing I would ask, if a student is really low, and this is, let's say, 11th grader, is students will go on and sometimes just click happily through like they will do with other things. So you have to really tell them what the point of the diagnostic is and let them know that it's there to help them. And it's also there to actually make them better at what they're doing and support them. And often students are scared of that if they have weaker readers. So we have to be really careful with our language. So again, recommended skills here with grammar and mechanics, very low at this point. But what's going to be awesome is when the student practices, this is a smart kid. He just needs some really focused attention in these areas. And that's what the diagnostic will do. One more thing I want to show you about IXL, because I can't go fully into this today, but I want to make sure you knew, is that there are skill plans. I don't know if you knew that there are skill plans for the highly assessed T's according to STAR and highly assessed T's according to writing. And that goes 4th and 7th. The reading only goes through 8th. However, it also has an alignment with MAP growth, which we're using obviously this year. And that goes all the way to language 2 through 12. And then it goes for our reading 6 and up. And also it goes obviously younger as well. So there are correlations with skill plans that we can look at that with the RIT scores, for example, with MAP, and actually have a path that would fit what is being diagnosed they need by MAP, and also would be diagnosed by IXL. So let's pause there for a minute. I'm going to stop this video, let you process a moment, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to move on a little bit more into QSA.